This is Pokemon Emerald Yet's Speed Choice, a ROM hack that can bring most of the mechanics and quality of life features to the original game, like updated abilities, the physical and special split, multiple use TMs, and the fairy typing without changing it that much. Today, I'm going to try and see how easily Butterfree can beat Pokemon Emerald with those updated mechanics. Things don't start great, with May's Torchic giving Butterfree some issues. It would usually be an easy fight for everyone, but due to the updated level up movesets in this game, her starter has access to a stab move, which in Torchic's case means that it gets Ember right off the bat. Butterfree only has access to Gust and Confusion, so while she could easily defeat me with 2 to 3 Embers, I knew that it was a matter of keeping trying until I got her confused with my own confusion and got her to hit herself, which is exactly what happened after a few attempts. While I make my way to Roxanne, let's explain some of the rules for this challenge. The first is that I'll try to keep the number of battles at a bare minimum, fighting trainers only when they are mandatory. This ROM hack has a function to make trainers fight you only if you talk to them, so if you see me running past a trainer that's not necessary to fight, it's most probably because of that. The second rule is that no items will be allowed during battle, excluding hell items. Finally, the obvious one is that I can't use other Pokemon during battle except Butterfree. I'll get some Pokemon for HMs, but they'll never be used for other purposes. Anyways, before challenging Roxanne, there's one mandatory trainer on the right of Rosboro City that has 2 Geodudes, and I wanted to challenge him not only for the experience, but also to see how Butterfree would do against the gym. And it took him 3 hits of confusion to defeat him, which is obviously not good. Afterwards, I went to challenge Roxanne, and as you would expect, it didn't go so great. I tried for many attempts to get the confusion on Geodude and for her to hit herself, and on one attempt, not only did I get that, but also a crit. However, even with that, the damage only brought her to a sliver, while a single Rock Tomb instantly squashed Butterfree like a, well, bug. Seeing how awful the fight went, it was apparent that I was going to need to get some levels, so out the window goes the idea of minimum battles. I looked up, and the trainer that can give me the most experience are the ones with 2 Geodudes inside of the gym, so I fight both of them, getting Butterfree 2 levels. I challenged the Geodude once more until I get the confusion like last time, and while I do get her to hit herself again, on that last attempt I also got a crit, and since I didn't get it this time, it brought her once more to a sliver, with Butterfree still not being able to survive a Rock Tomb. Just one more level and I feel like I can get past her. I fight 2 more trainers to get another level, and after 4 optional fights and over 50 restarts, I finally got past the first Geodude. Ignore the crits, I don't think it mattered. Then the second Geodude came out, didn't get confused and OHKO'd me. It might seem hopeless with the slow progress and Roxanne still having Nosepass in the back, but things are about to change. Also, I am not keeping the experience from defeating Geodude. I feel like that would be against the spirit of the challenge. Once more, I fight 2 more trainers to get another level, and that gets Butterfree to level 13, where it tries to learn Poison Powder, Stun Spore, and most importantly, Sleep Powder. It's a 75 accuracy move that puts the target to sleep. I know, shocker. And while the accuracy might seem unappealing, Butterfree has the ability Compound Ice, which gives a 30% boost to the accuracy of every move he uses. So if Sleep Powder is 75, with the boost it turns into 97.5, making it have almost perfect accuracy. Dude, I'm so tired of saying accuracy. With the move, I go back to challenge Roxanne, and with both Sleep Powder and the attack boost from the level up, I'm now able to easily 2-shot both of the Geodudes, as long as they stay asleep. Against Nosepass though, things didn't go great. My confusions were doing no damage to her, so I would need to get her confused, hit herself probably multiple times thanks to her berry, and get insane luck with sleep turns. All of that while also needing to make it past the 2 Geodudes. I feel like it can happen, but while doing attempts, I realized that Geodude had a small range of surviving being hit twice. Since I was already needing to get extremely lucky, I decided to get another level by fighting 4 trainers to at least increase the chances of getting past this awful fight, even if just a little. Finally, after over 100 total restarts and 10 optional battles, I get a run where Nosepass stays asleep for many turns, gets confused early from my attacks, and hits herself twice, being damaged enough that she eventually got defeated. It was an extremely difficult fight, but it could have been so much worse. Because for some reason, in this ROM hack, Roxanne doesn't use potions, even though in the original game she has two. I don't know why it is that way, but I'm not going to complain. Moving on from that awful fight, the next important battle is against Broly, and while I'm sure it would be a sweep with Butterfree's double resistance to fighting moves, I'm going to skip it for now. The reason is that the gym that comes after is the electric one, which is another type that Butterfree is weak against. And if I want to keep the number of battles as low as possible, then having the option to fight the trainers inside the fighting gym seems like a good decision. And it might have been a good one because when fighting against the trainers on the way that have a plus lane Minen, Butterfree had a tough time defeating them, only winning because of their poor move choice. Not everything is bad news though, as while fighting those trainers, Butterfree gets an upgrade to Confusion in Psybeam, and a bug move in Silver Wing, with the last one being a move to keep in mind for all future fights with its 10% chance to give a boost to every stat. On the way to Watson, I had to fight the rival Mei, and while I did restart once, that was due to getting unlucky with sleep. On the winning attempt though, even though Wingull outsped and did a concerning amount of damage with Wing Attack, with both Sleep Powder and Psybeam, I was able to two-shot both him and Combusken, with Lombre also being an easy KO with Silver Wind. Watson fight. He starts with Voltorb and his rollout does a lot of damage, but it was nothing that the combination of Sleep Powder and Silver Wind couldn't beat, with Butterfree even getting an Omni boost. Next was Manectric and I select and then confused him with the new Supersonic. Psybeam was doing good damage thanks to the boost, but Manectric woke up immediately and then paralyzed Butterfree with Thunder Wave. Forgot to equip a berry for that. After that, the fight was pretty much over, as even though I could have gotten past him with some luck, there's no way his other Pokemon would have been slower than a paralyzed Butterfree, even with the +1 speed. Now, that might have seemed like a disaster of a fight for Butterfree, but I actually feel like it's quite doable, with some sleep and confusion luck, especially now that I don't have to rely on a 30% chance of getting that last one. I feel like I can make it past it. Because of that, I decided to just get over with the Broly fights and get the experience I would get from it, which might be useful for Watson. It took me a couple more attempts, but eventually I got this run. As usual, I got past Voltorb easily, but this time without being hit by rollout, so I go into Manectric at full HP. Though without the Omni boost. He outsped, but for some reason he went for Howl instead of an electric move. That gave me the chance to get the Sleep and Confusion and then start attacking with Silver Wing, getting the Omni boost on the second attack. Because of the boost and Manectric's berry though, it got him to the red. Even worse, just as I did that, he woke up and landed the Thunder Wave. Luckily, I did remember this time to equip a berry to heal it, so after putting him to sleep again, even though Watson used a super potion, I was able to get past the Manectric. Magneton comes out, and I knew I needed to put him to sleep and confuse him. I get them, but he wakes up immediately, though he only hits himself. I put him to sleep again and start attacking, eventually getting him low on HP as he wakes up and hits himself again. Watson still had a potion, so I had to, once again, put him to sleep and then start hitting him with Psybeam. He wakes up immediately for the second time, but this time he misses Thunder Wave. Forgot he could do that. I put him to sleep again, and this time I defeat him before he could wake up. Electric was last and it took me a lot of luck to get here, so I don't risk it and put him to sleep before I start attacking, getting then a one-shot with Psybeam. I got so lucky on that Magneton fight, so much that I honestly think I shouldn't have won. If I didn't though, I had both a rare candy I could have gotten to get one more level without fighting and the TM for Psychic from the casino, so it's not like I would have been out of options if I had lost there. The next part of the story is the fight against Team Magma. But before that, in Full Arbor Town, there's the move reminder. I could treat a hard scale and teach Butterfree again any move that I deleted, which might seem like a small thing that I shouldn't even bother to mention. But I could also teach him moves that he might have missed at level 1, and there's none, since he only had 2 moves when I got him at level 5. Huh, why am I even talking about this? As said before, the massive fight was after, and for once, it was actually very challenging. I obviously didn't have any issues against Mightyena, since I could just put him to sleep and do massive damage to him with Silver Wind. The problem was with his Camerupt. He didn't take that much damage from Psybeam and did massive damage with his fire moves. As if that wasn't enough, Matzy also had 2 super potions, so if I got him on low HP, which happened often, it was back to square one. Eventually, I managed to make him use all of his potions and defeat Camerupt, but it took getting crits, Confusion Lock, Sleep Lock, and surviving a Flame Burst, which brought Butterfree to the red. Last was his Zubat, but I easily defeated him with a Psybeam. The next fight is Flannery, and you know that this one is going to be tough. Not only does she have a Camerupt, and not only does she have a Torkoal that's even tankier, but all of his Pokemon have Overheat, which no doubt all goes Butterfree, even if it came from a Numel or a Sologma. Sleep and Confusion are going to need to pull through on this fight, because I am not sure if Butterfree has what it takes to win with his current strength. I might need to get a TM for Psychic from the casino. She started with Numel, and I went with the strategy of using Sleep and Supersonic at the start, and then hitting with Psybeam. 2 Psybeams got her to the red, so Flannery healed Numel with a potion. I got her back to the red when she woke up, but she just used Sunny Day, so after putting her to sleep just in case, I defeated her. Then Torkoal came out, and I went again for Sleep and Confusion, landing 2 Psybeams that did, honestly, not much, but also making the sun fade away before she woke up. When she did that though, she hit herself in Confusion, giving me the chance to put her to sleep again and continue attacking. I got her all the way to the red, but eventually my luck ran out, and Torkoal woke up and landed an overheat for a one-shot. I might be able to do it if I get an Omnibus from Silverwing, but I'm going to play it safe and get a TM for Psychic from the casino either way. You should be able to buy it with the items that you've collected up to this point, so I don't think it counts as cheating. At least not compared to if I had gotten it for Watson. It takes me a couple of attempts, but eventually I get an Omnibus against Numel, so I'm going into the Torkoal at +1 on every stat, while also being at full HP. I still go for Sleep and Confusion, but now Psychic does a lot more damage. She does wake up immediately, but I get lucky and she hit herself. So I put her to sleep again and hit with a Psychic. And while it does get her to the red, which makes Flannery use a potion, and while she does wake up on turn 1 again to set up the Sunny Day, the third time I put her to sleep, she stays that way for enough turns for Butterfree's attacks to defeat her. After that were Camerupt and Sologma, and I still played it safe with Sleep, but they were easy knockouts with Psychic. I know some people won't like that I'm using the 10% chance of an Omnibus to win a fight, but 1. I'm using a freaking Butterfree, give me a break. 2. I'm trying to do the least battles possible. And 3. I don't care. So I'm going to abuse the heck out of that Omniboost. The next fight is against Norman, but something weird happened. For the first time on these challenges, I'm having trouble getting past a random NPC. It's the final Ace trainer before getting to the gym leader, and she has a Zangoose. She likes to go for Sword Stance at the start, and a crit slash one-shots Butterfree, while my Silverwings barely miss on a 2-shot, causing her to heal since Ace trainers are one of the few trainers that has healing items. It was only a matter of time for me to win, getting either the Zangoose to hit herself in Confusion or an Omniboost. But it took me quite the number of restarts before I could get past her. Anyways, against Norman Spinda, I went for Sleep Powder and then started attacking with Psychic. He woke up immediately though, and hit with a Wake of Assad before falling to a second Psychic. Then Slacking came in and both outsped and killed Butterfree with a single attack. Okay, maybe if I don't get hit by Spinda? I get past Spinda, this time getting hit by Tear Dance instead of Facade, and now Slacking's Facade gets me to about a fifth of my HP before eating a berry. I then tried the usual Sleep and Confusion followed by spamming attacks, but my Psychics were doing a pitiful amount of damage. And with Slacking outspeeding, the Sleep strategy is way worse than before. I didn't want to truly abuse the Silverwing Omnibus gamble, but it looks like I have no other choice. Once again, it takes me a couple of attempts to get the Omnibus, but it was easier thanks to the realization that Spinda wasn't a guaranteed 2-shot, making Norman on these attempts use a potion on him. I now outspeed Slacking and I went for the usual status combo, attacking after and doing good damage. The strategy works even better thanks to Durant making Slacking faint without even getting the chance of hitting back. After that, both Vigoroth and Linoon were easy one-shots thanks to the newly acquired Bug Buzz that I got from defeating Slacking, which is a special 90 base power move, boosting even more Butterfree's firepower. With the 5th patch acquired, I also get access to Surf, and I decide to just head straight to the next gym, defeating both Team Aqua on the Weather Institute and the rival on the way. I fight against the trainers on the gym, and Butterfree doesn't seem to have any issues against them, so I decide to just challenge Winona. Just kidding, do you think I'm crazy? She has a team full of Pokemon that are around the same level as me, while having a stab fly move that's super effective. Not to mention a Skarmory that resists every move that Butterfree can learn at this point. I'm not even going to bother trying, and instead skip it and go to the gym that comes after. If you didn't know, there's nothing preventing you from making the 6th gym the last one you challenge, with the only consequence being that you cannot use Fly outside of battle. So I'm going to try and get a couple of levels from the evil team fights and come back when I feel like I'm ready. On the way to fighting those battles, I also get a TM for Giga Drain, which should prove useful against some of the final fights of the game. I also tried getting Shadow Ball for Phoebe, but you have to fight a couple of trainers to get it, so I'll have to pass on it. Matzy came after, and I was a bit worried about this fight, but it turns out that you can easily win as long as he refuses to use any fire move and stays asleep, as his camera up just went for a curse while being unable to move during the rest of the fight due to the sleep powder. Crobat could have also been dangerous if he used flying moves, but he just went for Poison Fang, giving Butterfree a pretty easy victory. Now, while I go through all of the fights that are between defeating Matzy and reaching Ted and Liza, which, let's be honest, they're never an issue, let's talk about the rest of Butterfree's level up moveset and TMs he could learn. There's not many left in terms of level up, but the 3 that Butterfree still hasn't had the chance to learn are all pretty useful in their own way. Tailwind can give the speed advantage for 5 turns, Air Slash finally gives him a strong special flying move, and Quiver Dance... Dude, this move is so good. It gives a boost to special attack, special defense, and speed. It's 100% going to be taught when Butterfree reaches level 47. As for TMs, the story is a bit different. I already have Giga Drain and Psychic, both of them being really good for coverage, but besides that, the only ones that might be useful are the combo of Sunny Day and Solar Beam, but with Butterfree already getting Giga Drain and eventually Quiver Dance, it just doesn't seem that useful. If there's one move I wish Butterfree could learn though, is Dream Eater. The combo of almost guaranteed sleep and that move are extremely broken, but unfortunately, the move tutor that teaches it is in the Battle Frontier. Also, I know I could have taught him Return a while back, but as an added rule, I decided to not teach him any move that almost every Pokemon can learn, like Toxic, Double Team, or Rest. They just make every solo run look the same, so I think it's better if I just don't use them. Going into the Tate and Liza fight, I had to bring one of the Pokemon I was using for HMs to the battle since I was forced to. The original plan was to put Satu to sleep and then spam Bug Buzz since the move can hit both opponents. However, in this ROM hack, the move isn't able to do that. Instead, what I did was two-shot the Claydol after putting Satu to sleep. Lunatone came out, and he unfortunately was left on the red after being hit by Bug Buzz. I was able to defeat him the next turn though, even after he went for a Coal Mine, but Satu finally woke up and hit hard with Psychic. And since Satu was outspeeding, he obviously defeated me with another attack. Silver Wind it is! It takes me many attempts to get this to work though. I need to pass through many obstacles to see if it's a restart or not. If I don't get the Omnibus on the first turn and Claydol goes for Ancient Power, it's a restart. If he goes for Psychic instead, but Satu wakes up immediately, it's a restart. And if I don't get the Omnibus on the second hit, it's a restart. Eventually, my first hit manages to get the Omnibus, but then Claydol's Psychic gets the 10% special defense drop. I thought I was in trouble, but then the Silver Wind that defeated Claydol got a second Omniboost. That's a 0.1% chance for those 3 things to happen. Satu is still asleep as Lunatone comes out, and this time Bug Buzz gets a one-shot. So last is Torrock, and I wanted to change things up a bit and go for Giga Drain against him for recovery. However, it doesn't get the one-shot. Not only that, but Satu wakes up and hits with Psychic, while Solrock sets up a Sunny Day. From previous attempts, I know that Satu can get out of control with Coal Mine, so I put him to sleep again while Solrock hits hard with Flamethrower. He still goes down the next turn to Giga Drain though, giving back some HP to Butterfree as Satu wakes up immediately and attacks with a Psychic. I put him to sleep just in case, but it looks like I didn't need to, as a single Bug Buzz was able to defeat Satu. Getting 2 Omniboost was insane, but I know from a previous attempt where I got only one that it is possible to win without getting both. Still, it was a roller coaster of emotions getting the Omniboost, followed by the special defense drop, only to then get another Omniboost. It was a pretty intense moment. Next was a double battle on the space station against Matsi and Tabitha with Steven, and it's usually not a problem when compared to Teddy and Liza, but since I relied on an omnibus for that one, it was pretty close. I won't narrate the whole thing since a lot of stuff happened and I feel like the video is already long enough, but I'll just say that them not going for any fire type move certainly helped both Steven and I to win. Another important thing that happened though was that Butterfree finally got to level 47 and tried to learn Quiver Dance. I decided to replace Silverwind since, even though the chance of an omnibus is nice, getting a guaranteed boost alongside the sleep is a much better, not to mention safer, strategy. There is a chance that I'll need to get an omnibus for a future fight, but for now, I think I'll just stick with Quiver Dance instead. Last of the evil team fights is against Archie, and it was the perfect chance to test the combo of Quiver Dance and Sleep Powder, and after a single boost, it destroyed his team. It helped that I had a super effective move against his 3 team members, but I don't think I would have been able to one-shot or even outspeed them without Quiver Dance. I finished the fight and go outside, which means that the world is ending, so I fly to Sotopolis. Wait, what? Alright, Winona! I go to Winona and defeat her whole team after setting up 2 Quiver Dances. It helped that her Swablu and Altaria switch out after putting them to sleep thanks to their ability to heal status condition when switching to another teammate, but I would have still been fine without it. Can't believe that I forgot to do that fight. Also, as a side note, Scott is supposed to call you after you defeat Winona, and since I flew straight to Sotopolis to witness the clash between Groudon and Kyogre, he called me right after seeing the fights, like, Scott, my guy, there's literally a world-ending event happening right now. The final gym leader is Juan, and the only troublesome part was setting up Quiver Dances against Love Disc. He outsped and liked to go for Attract, so even though I got him with a Sleep Powder, Butterfree was unable to set up. It took me a couple of turns to get the boost, but I got past him while being at +2. After that, most of Juan's Pokemon were one-shot, with the exception of Kingdra and Celio. The final fight before the league is Wally, and on the first try, since he started with Altaria, I put it to sleep so that he would switch out, sending out Magneton. Then I put him to sleep, but he woke up immediately the next turn and hit with a quick Thunderbolt to get a one-shot. I knew that was a one-time thing, and after trying again and not even bothering with sleep, instead going for another Quiver Dance, I was able to get a one-shot with Bug Buzz, but not before getting brought to almost half HP. Altaria was sent again, and Butterfree's Bug Buzz was barely not doing half. He countered with Aerial Ace, and that almost defeated Butterfree. I got a bit of that HP back with a Citrus Berry, but I decided to put the Altaria to sleep and go for another Quiver Dance. That was the right decision, as after that, every single one of his Pokemon was easily defeated. I was feeling pretty confident going into the league after getting Quiver Dance, but that Wally fight was a wake-up call to not take the fight so lightly. I might have an overpowered setup move, but if I'm not careful, I can easily get defeated. It might sound weird, but I need to remember that I'm using a Butterfree. As for the moves I was going to use for the league, I had a bit of a tough time. I was sure that I was going to bring Bug Buzz, Sleep Powder, and Quiver Dance, but I wasn't sure about the 4th move. Bug Buzz worked for Sydney, but not for Phoebe. And I also needed to be careful about Glacia and Drake since they had super effective moves. In the end, I decided to go for Air Slash, which should do the strongest neutral damage to them, while also having Giga Drain in the back for when I get to Wallace. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but if it doesn't work, I always have the Silverwind Omnibus strategy and a bunch of rare candies, so I'm not that worried. First of the Elite 4 is Sydney, and by using Bug Buzz, Mightyena was a one-shot, Absol was a one-shot, Cacturne was a one-shot, Groudon was a one-shot, and Shiftry was a one-shot. Pretty easy, didn't even need to use Sleep Powder or Quiver Dance. Second of the Elite 4 is Phoebe, and after taking advantage of her first Dusclops habit of using Protect at the start and Sleep Powder, I was able to set up 3 Quiver Dances, which allowed Butterfree to one-shot her first Dusclops with Air Slash, and then her second Dusclops, her Sableye, her first Banette, and her second Banette. Third of the Elite 4 is Glacia, and I had a bit of a rough time setting up against her first Celio since she kept waking up early and hitting super hard with Ice Ball. Still, I did manage to get to +3 before defeating her with Bug Buzz. After that, her first Glalie and second Celio were a one-shot. Against Walrein, the move didn't manage to defeat her, instead leaving her on a Sliver. Though, because of Quiver Dance, she was forced to use Body Slam instead of Surf or Ice Beam, thankfully not paralyzing me. It then took only one more attack to knock her out. Finally, her second Glalie was a one-shot. I forgot to heal before the fight, so I was a bit worried that I could have run out of power points, but thankfully both Bug Buzz and Air Slash were doing enough damage. Last of the Elite Four is Drake, and I put Shelgon to sleep to set up as always, and even though I managed to get 3 Quiver Dances with only 1 sleep powder, he ended up waking up, hitting with a Rock Tomb that brought Butterfree from 157 HP to 6 HP. My attack was able to KO him, but if that doesn't show how this isn't just free fights, then I don't know what will. Second was Salamence, and even at +3, Air Slash only brought him to a sliver. Thankfully, the move got a flinch, so after he healed, I was able to defeat him. Then Altaria came out, and since I knew he would switch if I used Sleep Powder, I used it and then took the chance to set up a 4th Quiver Dance, just in case that someone else couldn't be a one-shot. After that, Kingdra was a one-shot, Altaria was a one-shot, and Flygon was a one-shot. Finally, it's the champion, Wallace. And since his Wailord's only physical attacking move was a weak double edge, I took my time to put him to sleep and go all the way to +5, knocking him out with Giga Drain that I got by replacing Air Slash. My Lodek was an easy one-shot, so next was Tentacruel, and even though I was almost at Matt's special attack, he survived an attack and then hit Butterfree with Toxic. Since I knew he was going to heal, I switched to using Bug Buzz for some cheap damage, followed by Giga Drain for the knockout. But now Butterfree is in a timer. Ludicolo and Whiscash were easy since I had super effective move against them, but then Gyarados came out and also survived a Giga Drain. He only went for Dragon Dance, so I tried going again for Bug Buzz for cheap damage, but the move actually got a crit to knock him out, defeating the champion. Well, that was easy. I lost a couple of attempts, but they were either because I underestimated the opponent's movesets or overestimated Butterfree's strength. Problems that got easily fixed by either setting up more Quiver Dances or picking a better moment to do it. I didn't think he was going to get past Drake that easily, but here we are. Now, as you probably know, the run is not over yet. There's still the secret post-game battle against Steven, and he has a bunch of rock and steel types. They also have higher levels, but with how well Butterfree did against the league, I'm actually not that worried about him. The only thing is the moveset. I'm obviously going for Quiver Dance and Sleep Powder, so the question now is what my 2 offensive moves are going to be. I have 4 options for moves: Bug Buzz, Air Slash, Psychic, and Giga Drain. I immediately discarded Psychic since 4 out of Steven's 6 Pokemon resist that move. Air Slash was one that I wanted since out of the 3 left, it was the only one that was resisted by Skarmory instead of being double resisted. That left the decision between Giga Drain and Bug Buzz. And originally, I wanted to go for Giga Drain for the super effective damage against Aggron and Claydol, but the more I thought about it, Bug Buzz seemed like the better option. It does super effective damage against Cradily and Claydol, and neutral to Armaldo, but most importantly, Metagross, which is the one that has me the most worried excluding Skarmory. It will mean that I'll have to use Bug Buzz for Aggron, but due to his ability 30, it's not like I want to get a one-shot on him. I just need to do enough damage to get a 2-shot. With the moves locked in, let's see if it's going to be enough. First try, Skarmory outspeeds and one-shots Butterfree with Aerial Ace. I was laughing so hard when I saw that. I have a bunch of rare candies, so let's use them. There are 17 rare candies throughout the Hoenn region, and only 2 are locked behind trainer battles, so I gave myself 15 through the debug menu. I just gave every one of them to Butterfree to get his level as high as possible. I need to both outspeed and be able to take a hit, and maxing out his level should allow for that to happen. Besides, since I'm already at the final battle, there's not really a point in saving them. Okay, so the strat was the same as usual. Sleep and then Quiver Dance. I needed to get 3 boosts against Skarmory to get a 2-shot. It's not guaranteed, but if I go for more, I risk getting 2-shotted by him, so by going for 3, I had the best odds of getting past Skarmory. On this attempt, I got it to work, but I'm going into Steven's next Pokemon on low HP thanks to an Aerial Ace, though with a bit more since I equipped Butterfree with a Shell Bell beforehand. Steven sends his Ace Metagross, and as long as he stayed asleep, he was an easy 2-shot with Bug Buzz. Against Armaldo, Air Slash only got him to the red. That might seem like a bad thing, but what that really meant was that Steven kept healing Armaldo after getting hit by Air Slash, giving me more recovery with the Shell Bell. In the end, I got past him and was almost at full HP. Aggron came out, and as usual, I put him to sleep, but then I misclicked and went for Air Slash, which didn't even do half. He luckily stayed asleep, and a bug buzz brought him to the red, but he then woke up, only to hit with Dragon Claw. Huh, I guess he doesn't have a rock move. Last on Steven's team were Cradily and Claydol, but since they were weak to bug, I was able to one-shot them, meaning that I managed to get past Steven and beat the game with a single Butterfree, with a total of exactly 200 restarts, using all of the rare candies, and a total of 93 battles, with 10 of them being optional and before Red Sand. It was honestly a pretty weird run. It depended so much on luck, be it from Slate Powder or Silver Wind, only to then shift into depending on setting up enough quiver dances and getting enough sleep turns from the opponent. Not to mention the extremely slow start against Roxanne. From the outside, it might have seemed like a boring run, but it was honestly pretty fun. I had so much fun when I got the Omnibus, and being able to sweep against the league with a single Butterfree was so enjoyable. For some of you, that might have made the video less entertaining, but as a player, it was really fun. I know there's a bunch of other weak bugs that get the move Quiver Dance, and some of them alongside a sleeping move, but I don't think there's going to be another run like the one I had with Butterfree. But anyways, did I miss anything on the video? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.